Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about a new scroller via Langchain.RB and Gemini APIs, and showcase to you some function calling functionalities. And I had to amend the slides after I see my predecessor. A couple of words about me. I'm Riccardo. As a developer advocate for Google Cloud, what I do is advocate about SRE, DevOps, DORA, everything operations, because I've been in operation for quite a while. The guy, you know, where they knock at your door when things break and they don't care that you exist when things are working fine. And among my, the things that I love the most in life are Ruby as a language, which my company doesn't really support much. So everybody's like, are you still in love with Ruby? Yes, I am. And Amarone di Valpolicella. So this is me last night drinking with a friend. And I really want to, I'm super scared because I'm going to show you 4 demos. So if the network is not going to work, I'm screwed. And before I do the demos, I would like to do like 15 minutes of demos, so I'll go really fast on the rest. I'm going to talk to you about Gen AI. I know you know everything about it, but I want to pinpoint a couple of facts that might not be familiar to all of you. I want to show you the problem I'm trying to solve, how my ugly application demonstrates it, and then get to the demos with Rails console. So I will ask you this question time by time. So what's Gen AI? I know most of you know or think they know what it is, and I'm pretty sure you do. You probably use a lot of LLMs at work. Can you raise your hand if you use LLM at work, particularly with, okay, raise your hand if you use them. Okay, that's a lot. Who use them in Ruby? Who does Ruby Gen AI stuff? Okay, so you probably know the gem I'm going to talk about. A couple of words about LLMs. LLMs, like back in the days, you tell me this is a cat. These are the properties of a cat. Then you take pictures. You get 10,000 pictures of a cat, 10,000 pictures of a dog, and say, hey, is this a cat? And it says yes. That's kind of like 10 years ago. And today you just say like, read the whole internet. And now tell me what Dante Alighieri thinks about Beatrice, or tell me what is a cat. LLMs are not as magical as they think. They basically are a very smart auto-completion tool. And when people forget that, I think that was the problem start. LLMs are a big auto-completion tool, which means that the more autocomplete, the more stuff will they make up. So token in output, you don't want to exceed them. Token in input, that's good. Gemini is our top LLM that we use in Google, but I'm not here to publicize that. And actually, everything that I'm doing today, you can do it with any other LLM in the market, from OpenAI to Llama, etc. What I really want to point out is what embeddings are. Raise your hand if you know what embeddings are in the context of Gen AI. Okay, so that's a minority, which is good. So only a few people are going to be bored. Embeddings are, in a nutshell, are vectors. So an array of 1,000. Think of an array of 1,000 numbers. Every vendor has a different number. And the magic part about embeddings is that represent numerically the aspects about an object. Like, or it could be a picture, it could be a video, a YouTube video. We use embedding a lot for YouTube videos, for example. Or it could be for just a word. For today, think of just for strings. So you have a big vector representing a king, a queen, swimming, swam, walking, walked, Ankara, Turkey, Russia, Moscow. And then, if it's a vector, so a little magical arrow, if you study math, this magical arrow, also the difference between two vectors has a meaning. And the difference between man and woman could be very similar to king and queen, and represents femininity, represents gender property. And the one between Turkey and Ankara might be, in an ideal world where these embeddings rock, very similar to the Ottawa in Canada, and have signify capital or country of. So, you know, if I didn't persuade you, I have a little video that shows you embeddings. This is a very famous data set called MNIST. I think it's the oldest data set in the world. I think it's from the 60s, where all the digits from 0 to 9 are represented. And you can see 9 and 7 here. There are points where, is it a 9? Is it a 7? I don't know. Imagine if a computer knows. This is another example where you can see some YouTube videos. All of these blobs here are around the city of Bruges. Probably this is Japanese for Bruges. And then there's another Akotsalia group of words for stratosphere. And the big part about embeddings is that the idea is that similar thing will hit a similar vector, so you can do vector similarity to search semantically stuff that looks the same. And this is actually my first demo, which is trivial, but still I think is quite important because probably I think everybody would want some functionality in a Ruby on Rails application where you say I have articles and I want to see the 5 closest articles. I have people, I want to see the 5 closest people. So think of it as a function that takes a string and returns a big array of numbers. Global warming, Ruby programming language, whatever you want. Why is this interesting? Because then, given an LLM that embeds this into a big chunk of numbers, you can say, okay, now select articles, take the near neighbors, based on this big number, which is my query, now find the 6th closest article to it, and bam, that is it's a select on my Rails application for this silly app that I did with a news article, and it gives you the idea of the article, the title of the article, and this magic number. This is, if this was implemented in any other language, probably would be separated, but the creator of the gem, of the neighbor gem, decided to inject this property into the object. So this is the distance between the article, how climate change is changing heat waves, with global warming embedding. So it's a delta between the vector of my search and the vector of the embedding of the title. Of course, you can decide, do I embed the title? Do I embed the content of the article? Do I embed the author? So you get all the article by Riccardo. Like, you decide what you want to embed. I played with it. The title is the best. If I put everything, there's a lot of content, and usually it sucks. But you can see, this is not a keyword search, because global warming doesn't exist in after the hurricane. Still, we get a hit. So, pretty powerful. And this is really easy to implement. 0 cost if you do it with Olama. So, might be interesting to do. So what are the challenges here? You need a vector database. Why? Because this is not the usual select asterisk from articles where title equal blah, blah, blah. So it's not the typical thing that you do with an equal or a hash or a like SQL query, but you need to do similarity between big chubby numbers. It's a bit like, you remember when GPUs were introduced to do graphical computation, not like today that are used for something else. So we have a number of vector databases. Is anybody, can you raise your hand if you use any of these databases in here? 0? Okay. Well, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a few of you do. Perfect. There are a lot of great products in the market. These people created a database which is efficient into searching vectors. And I chose the easiest for me, which is pgvector. It's just a library on top of Postgres. I use Postgres. I love Postgres with all my heart. And then this is just a library. And if you install the neighbor gem, you just say Rails migrate, boom, enable extension, which calls this code. Easy peasy. I don't know what's behind the scenes, but it looks easy peasy. So that's the first part. You have your database. Now my database supports vectors, so I can have a field on Rails that say this is the embedding of the title. And it supports like a big chubby number to be saved in the database. Then you call the API with your favorite AI tool that you have. In my case, is Gemini, and I use an embedding model. Google has 2 models: one multilingual, one single lingual English. I tried them both. I like multilingual because I have article in Italian and in English in my tests, but the English one works a bit better. So I sacrifice it. And this is how it looks. You can see I'm clearly a front-end developer, right? You can see the quality of the CSSs that I create. And as you can see, this is a random article. These are the closest article. And this number here is the distance that I was telling you about. You can use various algorithms for this, like Euclidean, cosinus, but I don't think we need to get into there. So what's the problem that Riccardo is trying to solve, if I still have your attention? Because maybe like, oh, boring numbers, I don't like them. LLMs that you probably use every day for work or to just play around are not perfect. They have a number of issues. I would say my 2 favorite issues are hallucinations, because again, it's an auto-completion tool, it's not intelligent. So it's making up stuff, and they still do it. And they have outdated data. So if the model was trained a year ago, maybe when you ask the president of the Republic of a country that just changed 2 months ago, he will tell you the old one, right? Humbly, you say, for what I know, I think it's this person. Is it still Silvio Berlusconi? Probably not, okay? So we want to fix 2 things, hallucination and up-to-date. So what I thought is, let's create a news application. Just steals news from newspaper online. I just fed it 30 RSS that I manually found on a Saturday morning. And finally, I say, okay, feed it into my database. And of course, they become old. After one day, they're old. My information is from a month ago, so they are old. But good enough, but still old. How do we solve the problem of LLMs? The most famous way to solve it is RAG. And RAG, in my opinion, is very 2023. So this is how you would solve the problem a year ago. It's very well established in where I work with the customers I work with. This is very 2023. They're still implementing it, but it's a beautiful solution, but it's quite known. It's been used for like a year time, which in Gen AI corresponds to more than 10 years. It's like 25 years. So, I would say 2.5 more than in ratio than just languages. How do you do RAG? Well, philosophically, you start from the embedding of the user question. I don't know, climate change. Climate change, for example. Then you do a similarity search on your database. Actually, I say database, but let's expand it. It could be retrieve them out in the wild, retrieve news from the world, or search my database. It depends from your application, whatever you want. It's just find some information that is fitting and that probably the LLM doesn't know. Because the LLM is stopped in time from, let's say, 1 year ago, just to visualize it, right? Then construct a prompt where you inject into the LLM prompt the information that you just retrieved here. So you're kind of cheating. You're asking a question, but you're providing the response in the middle of the question. So you're providing fresh information, okay? So it's a typical question answer where you are cheating and retrieving, based on the question, you're retrieving from a knowledge base. It can be in the internet, can be on your DB, whatever you want. You add it here. You paste it into the context and you know where I'm going. Then the auto-completion of answer will try to answer your question, but it will also first read, you say, oh, by the way, did you know that this person just died this morning, or the war or political information from yesterday? You just pasted it. So she already knows. In Italian, we have to put a gender to everything. We don't say it. So I don't know if it's a female or a man, something in between. Solution number 2. Function calling. So this is something a bit more esoterical, I would say. This is something that is available in a number of platforms. I don't know, OpenAI, Google, and I was reading an article this morning, just the French ones, what's it called? Anthropic has just launched it this week. So it's a new thing. Function calling is difficult to explain because it feels like, oh, the LLM can call a function. It's subtly different than that. The LLM, you give it a question and you provide as a payload a bunch of function input and outputs like location string, description string, movies, date, etc. Forgot the word, but you know what I'm talking about, like the arguments that they want in input. And then he tries to make up what is the best function and the best argument that I need to populate for the tools that you gave me. And in this case is probably the find theaters for Barbie and Mountain View. The only effort that it did is understanding from my question that Mountain View was actually Mountain View in California. It was a simple Google map thing that probably you're an LLM, you know, shitload of stuff, right? So you can say the Mountain View, I know it's in California rather than in the province of Verona, right? So that's what it does. It seems simple, but actually this empowers you to then call in the middle of an interaction with your LLM to call functionality. I don't know, transform centigrade to Fahrenheit, which you say probably already knows how to do it, but maybe something more complex, which is based on your, I don't know, your model, your business logic that is only yours and you only know. Okay, if I still have your attention, let's talk about my solution. My solution is two Ruby directory. My name is Palladius, Gemini News Crawler, so you can find the code in there. The crawler is really not important today. The crawler is just something that I call in February and March, leaving my Mac by night. My wife was like, it's very noisy. Yes, I know. Bzzz, machinating, I don't know, milling, and getting all the article. I have 10,500 articles. I think there is a cap to 10,000. So I have like 10,000 articles. Okay, now I fed my database with random stuff from 3 months ago, which is important. And then I have a web app, which is a Ruby on Rails app, Ruby 3, Rails 7. It's Dockerized. It builds in 5 minutes. Plenty of environment variables. Oh, there are like pages and pages of env vars. Too many, probably. This is the RSS of the first, of the crawler, is me just randomly search the RSS, playing with the gem that fetches the RSS. If it gives an error, I remove it. If it doesn't give an error. So it's a lot of trial and error. Very boring. You don't care about this. Maybe you care about the libraries that I used. I don't know. So FitJira, there are two gems for new fetching article. I use FitJira, use very well, function very well. I never tried the second one. Neighbor is the magic gem to do similarity that pumps up your vector search. Matrix as well is good with numbers. Charkick and group date for graphs. I mean, I love it. Delayed job for delayed jobs. Active record because I'm lazy and I don't want to install Mongo in production. Gemini, Google stuff. Red carpet for Markdown. And now Langchain.RB, which is the protagonist of my of the title of my presentation, right? And this is my joke. I don't know. Does anybody have experience with Langchain in Python or stuff? And you say, I'm a Ruby developer. I want to use Langchain. I'm a bit jealous it doesn't exist. Then, a few months ago, I realized I Googled Langchain.RB, and I found out this gem. I say, I need to meet this guy. So I met with this guy, and I say, hey, I want to do a demo. Let's build a demo together. So he helped me a little bit. And this is the gem that kind of changed my Ruby life in the last 6 months, made by Andrei based in Miami, independent consultant. And it supports multiple LLMs. So, you know, you say, oh, this guy comes from Google. He's showing me the Google way, blah, blah, blah. I don't like it. I don't want vendor lock-in. Ce la posso fare. But the fact is that you can do Gemini LLM, Langchain LLM, instead of Google Gemini, you call, I don't know, OpenAI or Anthropic or Mistral or Olama. I actually did it with Olama because I was on a flight to the Philippines a few weeks ago, and it works fine, perfectly, in localhost, because it's Olama, right? It supports function calling, chatting embeddings, and a thing called tools that I need to explain what it is. And if you guys are like me, that you really sympathize for Team Ruby, the blue one is Ruby, and the red one is Langchain for Java. Peraltro, supported by a colleague of mine who loves Java, Guillaume Laforge. So please, I put the QR code so you can upvote it and maybe give it a few stars. Team Ruby. Okay. Just saying, the deployment happens with the Google Cloud. So this is Cloud Build. I deploy dev and prod. I wanted to show you prod, but as the new BAM, the database in dev is a lot better. So everything you will see today is in dev. So slow as hell, but not too slow. So sorry about that. I never backported the database to prod because 10,000 are too much stuff. Few stats, boring. Okay, this is the architecture. So Riccardo does a git commit. It's just me, it's a demo. Trigger to Cloud Build. Builds artifact registry Docker image. Docker image gets pushed to Cloud Run, which is a Knative on steroid. And then it runs in the cloud. It calls all of these APIs. And the crawler, who cares, because it's not the protagonist of the day. Okay, this is kind of like, I hope I still, yes. How much time do I have more? Another 20 minutes? Fantastic. So I have all the time to show you all the demos. I live Frankenstein Jr., of course. So these are the 4 demos. One, I kind of snaked it into the embedding part. So you already saw this, but I'm going to show you again because we have time. Then I'm going to do this with the UI, this with Rails Console, this with the UI because it looks cuter. There are images. And then the number 4 is the one that I really think is going to be, I find it impressive. You will tell me if you like it. That the 3 are like kind of like preparatory to the 4th. Particularly the 3, I just put it there so you understand the 4 a bit better. But you will see with time. So every demo that I have, I want to show you the every demo that I have is I need to call a couple to close a couple of. Okay, it's on GitHub under Web App, which is the Rails app, under Docs and Demo. And as you can see, there is a README, and there is every demo is something you can paste in the console and you can adapt it. So there is a query, you can change the query and see how it works, okay? So demo number 1 is as simple as clicking this button, and I will show you on the web, it's this, and you can click Deputato usa, if you think I'm cheating, you can just click, and find something else. You can see that every article is, these are actually related articles to the top article. So this is the article. As you can see, I'm a front-end developer, so the interface is slick as hell. You cannot find anything better today, like state-of-the-art UI. And I built the buttons. The buttons, I asked Gemini, say, hey, give me buttons that looks like Google Colors. I pasted the CSS, like, yes, I'm a front-end developer now. That's the quality of my coding. So this is the demo number 1. For the demo number 2, the Bella Raga, the rag demo, I want to show you with the console. So I'm going to open my VS Code. So you see, don't say that I am vendor locked in. Oh, sorry. You shouldn't have seen this. So Rails console, and let's pray the network works. Don't download a lot of stuff now, please. So demo number 2, I will use the global warming. Why? Because then what I show you in the console is exactly what you see in here. And since probably, if you see in the slide, it probably comes a bit better. Yes, probably here you see the text better. So just for this, the font size, I will show you here, but then I show you the code, so you don't say, oh, this guy cannot code. Probably you still think that, but at least I will type something on the keyboard, right? So it looks like I'm smart. So global warming, say the query. So far, it's exactly the embedding part that I showed you already. But the different part about, so this, you saw it already in the kind of the previous demo, right? But the part that is missing is when we assemble the prompt to inject that information. So first I create this header, which is blah, 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 tell me something about global warming. Oh, by the way, today is the 24th of May. You will see 31 on the console, because I took the screenshot some days ago. And here are the 6 articles. And then I take an excerpt of the article. I created an excerpt function, which puts the title and some, I played with it a lot. I put a lot of info, it sucked. And then I put very little info, and it got a lot better. So I put, okay, so little info. And then I asked the LLM to summarize that. Let's see it in practice. So, global warming, I put 2 at a time. So you can see the embedding has been calculated. The network is my friend, yes. This is the big chubby number for global warming. Okay, you saw it. Now we take the closest article. If you're curious, select sensible columns. I needed to do it because without it would select all the article, and it would be very bloated by the embeddings. And so it would take 6 seconds. And once I realized this, with a lot of Stack Overflow checking, I realized that it was just as simple as that. And now, a few milliseconds. And you can see, these are my articles. This is my active record, which gets stuck at this big number, so you can only see the first. That's why they're beautiful, but you need to say, don't print them out, otherwise, somebody maybe can teach me how to not print out a field when I do the print of it. So this is still demo number 1. Nothing new from the embedding demo. Now we do the interesting stuff, which I wrote the code in the helpers. Crappy developer, so I need to include it for the Rails console to work. And now I'm creating the short part that you saw in the slides. This is just a here document with a couple of variables for the date of today, 31 of May. I could do it with another query if you want me to. I can do it. It's just because I already know the output, so I know it kind of makes sense. But I could put something else. So now I take the excerpts and I puts them. You see, querying again because some fields are missing. These are the separated 6 articles. And now I just need to put everything together with another little function that I built, and finally call the auto-completion, because remember, an LLM is an auto-completion engine most of the time. Bingo, this is the string that the auto-completion gave me, and let's color it of green. And this is the, can you read this, or it's unreadable? Because if you cannot read it, I do Control+, but then it's like, yeah, you get. Can anybody not read this? So I will plus it. It's okay? Fantastic. Okay, so this is the demo number 2. Let's go back to the UI, okay? For the demo number 3, this demo is very, very simple. I think it's beautiful, but simple. It doesn't do anything important. I need to do it from a narrative perspective because without this, you don't understand the demo number 4. The demo number 3 is me calling a Langchain tool. What is a Langchain tool? A Langchain tool is a thingy composed of a JSON and a Ruby file. Do I have it here? Yes. And in this case, this is something that Andrei wrote for me in his gem. So this is a public thing that anybody can use. You just need to get the API code from newsapi.com. I wanted to do the org, but you can do it with either. You get the API key, and then you can start asking, tell me everything about Verona, Amarone, Roma, or whatever you like. And the interesting part is that you have a JSON and a Ruby. And as I anticipated some time ago, Ruby has the code of the function, which Gemini doesn't care, your LLM, whichever it is, doesn't care about. And then, let me make it a bit bigger. The Ruby code is the part that you write, or somebody else writes for you, and that gets executed when you interact with the LLM, as we'll see in the next demo. The part that is really relevant to an LLM is actually the JSON part, which is the part where you tell it, hey, this is a title. Hey, this is a nation. The nation can be Italy or France or UK. So you can actually instruct it. The description of the metadata is the part that the LLM picks up. So that's the part that whenever my demo doesn't work, I go change the JSON. I don't go change the Ruby, if that makes sense, which was very surprising to me. So I made some, usually I do some smart stuff and some very silly stuff. And with the silly stuff, that's what breaks my demo. Say, oh, make up the country and make me the emoji of the country where the article is from. And when he knows or she knows, was the right thing. But when it doesn't know, it fails with an error which is unrecoverable. So, come on, I just want to do something silly. So I changed the description to, if you don't know, put Vatican City. I'm a very religious man, as you can see, right? So put Vatican City. All of a sudden, it doesn't fail anymore. I changed the description, not the code. It's incredible because the code is very, very simple. So let's come back to us. So you understood, like the tool is a collection of methods and functions where you say, oh, I'm able, which are usually connected, like in a class, like all methods that have to do with a topic. And if you want to see what Langchain supports as a calculator, database, file system, Google search, news retriever, vector search, weather, Wikipedia. I could actually use the Wikipedia tool to say, if you search on Wikipedia on what is a treasure shark, for example, which maybe it's easier to find on Wikipedia than on news, right? So depending on what you're trying to do, you can use all of these tools. Now that I showed you, the theory, I'm going to show you the boring practice. So this is nothing magical at all. Let's look for Vinitaly. This is the query. This is the payload in response. I played with the response so you can see the tokenization of every single response. And bang, these are the articles reconstructed. It looks better on the UI because there are images, right? Without images, I would have showed you on the console, so I would have looked smarter. This is even too simple, right? Because I don't do anything. Now, let's come to the final demo that is the difficult one, the one that fails 30% of the time, so pray for me. Now, in the fourth demo, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do similar to the three, I'm going to call a tool, but actually I'm instantiating an assistant. Again, another Langchain.RB objects that has this property. You instantiate it, you will see it in the code, but I wanted to have a slide for it. You instantiate the LLM, which is the brain. The thread, which is the list, the array, the history of what has happened, starts empty and then it gets loaded with all the conversation. Instruction, you can start with this, you can play with it. You can say, well, if the person also always asks you to save to the database, ask for a password, 4242, or you can do something like that. And finally, most importantly, you give it an array of tools. A tool is an array of methods, so it's an array of methods. You know what it means? Plenty of methods, okay? In my case, there is the news retriever, which I showed you in the demo number 3, and the article tool, which instead is inside my code, so crappy code, and it gives you the create function to write something on the active record. Of course, the code is in my Rails application because it belongs to it, right? It knows how to create an article, how to delete an article, and do a suspiciously looking Carlessian URL. The hell is this? I know you're struggling with the anticipation, so let's move to the demo to see what happens here. So now I will click on demo 4 and I will cut and paste some code. So I will look half smart. So LLM, and again, as I said, this is a Google Gemini LLM with where I take the credential from the application credential, and you could instantiate from any other LLM vendor, so this is completely transparent, and it does work. It needs to be an LLM which supports function calling, and as far as I know, only a few support it now, but it's going to grow. Oh, sorry, this, I forgot the command C. Bingo. So we're using Gemini 1.5. If you're familiar with it, it's the one with 1 million token in input, so you can read the whole Shakespeare or Divine Comedy and ask in how many different ways Virgilio slacked Dante in Paradise, for example. Here we're instantiating the assistant. This is the one that I showed you in the slide because I wanted it to be understandable. Now we understand it. And the assistant, and this is me being lazy because I will talk a lot to this thing here. So I will just say, could be say, but it's an S because I'm very lazy. And now finally we can start playing with this. The history starts empty. I say, give me the latest 5 news from Italy. Can you read this? So now he's talking to Langchain. You remember, now I'm having a live conversation stored in the assistant object. So empty. Then Riccardo says, give me the latest 5 news from Italy. And I will call history. And this is if it's colorful, it's my code, of course. So this is me, the user, asking 5 news from Italy. The model calling the function calling functionality will say, call the news retriever get top headlines, arguments, country IT, page size 5. I could say, I don't like them. Give me the next 5. It will call it another function with page equals 2, I guess. At least that's what it did 2 hours ago. Let's say, nah, I don't like them. Give me the next 5. So that will probably, and you see, I'm having a conversation. Imagine tweaking this with a microphone. You could actually do it. My next demo is going to probably be saying it to the Google Home or to or Alexa. You can just say this in Word, and bang, these are the next 5 news, right? And I say, oh, Metallica. Wow, I like Metallica. So I could say something. Save the second one on Metallica, just because it could be confused with the second one. On DB. And if I am lucky, he understands he needs to save this information. This is just the title, and this is active records doing stuff. Plenty of numbers, so it calculated an embedding, which is why it takes a few seconds. And he says, I've saved the article about Metallica playing a cover of Acida dei Prozac Più in the database. The article ID is 10413. Okay, sorry, my English is bad for 5 digits, so I can do article.file 10413. Okay, 10,413. You see, I'm good, huh? And but I want to, because I'm super lazy. So can you give me the Carlessian URL? And I love the fact that I can make a typo. And what does it mean? This? What does this mean? Are we having grappa? Yes. So the Carlessian article is this. I'm going to open this, and this, of course, is the URL in production, but actually it's in dev, for the new article. This article was created a few seconds ago, and it already has an embedding with the closest article to Metallica Acida Prozac, which is a segreta arma russa, la sindrome dell'Havana, le prime pagine di oggi. Maybe the post with pagine di oggi has something about that, I don't know. So it already has the similarity search from the demo number 1, right? So I would say the demo does work, and you can say something much more complicated because you're talking to an LLM. So we could do something like, I don't know, I'm at a conference and my audience is very susceptible. I want to avoid political, death, and bad stuff. What is the article that you would save? Damn, it chooses the one that I already saved. Why don't we try to save it? Okay, so say, bingo. Save it, please. What is going to happen? What is going to happen in your opinion? Say it again? It's already there, so it's going to fail. And if it fails, the failure should provide a JSON string of the error messages of the failure so that LLM learns why it fails. You don't return nil. You return the strings of the error because you're talking to a smart robot. So if you provide as much feedback as you can, the LLM say, well, the title already exists, you idiot. So okay. Let's try. I never tried this. The article is already saved in the database. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, I didn't okay, he knows it's already saved without even trying. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't see this happening. Fantastic, that's outsmarting. I thought he would try. Let me try. Save it nonetheless. It's like, follow my orders. And then he should explode and get some mistake. No, okay. It's too smart for me. Okay. I cannot, yeah, okay. So that's the end of the demo, and I could do it, if you guys are interested, we could search for something else, so we can, does anybody have a query to try out? Unless you tell me that I need to close it, and then I can declare the demo closed. How are we doing on time? 3 minutes? Anybody has a question to ask the LLM or some curiosity? Let's push it to the borders. Any? Give me some news about Rail. The second word is club. Rails Club conference. Let's see what happens. Notice the history keeps increasing. Okay, can I just do raise or? This is, of course, depends on the news API. Let's see if he finds it. I noticed that if you ask country information, nah. If you ask country, gets it, but if you ask a generic thing, it doesn't. Let's try this. Because these, I found something, so this should work. There's a lot of news. So this is an internal tool that doesn't allow me to do stuff. Okay. It's called Santa Claus, but you hate it. Okay. Good luck finding it. Couldn't find specific news articles, so yeah, that doesn't work. Rails Europe. Yeah, no, this doesn't work. Let's say Japan. Yeah, with country it works. I think this is probably a limitation in the API search. That it expects like a geographic area. I say Verona, it doesn't accept it, but I say Italy, it does accept it. So it has pagination, but it doesn't have a very smart search. Oh, this is so easy to understand. Can you save the second and the fourth? Hoping they're 5, because I cannot even see them in my mind. I'm cheating. Of course, I could ask it to translate them to English, which I forgot. In this case, it will probably be smart enough to call the function once, save it, call the function twice, save it, and now it has 2 ID, probably will give me 2 IDs. It could actually be smart enough to say, well, this guy cares about the Carlessian URL. Let me also give you the Carlessian. Sometimes it does it, based on the history, because he remembers the previous interaction. If I reset the Rails console, he would forget everything, so he would say, he wouldn't do it at first, right? So he's doing the first, he's doing the second. I think I'm running probably a bit late. You see, these are the 2 IDs, 10, 4, 15. He gave me the 2 IDs and say, Carlessian URLs, please. And probably will give me a list of 2 URLs, which I just click and show you one of them. And I think we can declare the demo kind of done, because I don't want to abuse your time. Let's see if it's in Japanese or if it translated something. Japanese. Since I'm the best front-end developer in the world, I'm not able to actually transform this beautiful character in actually UTF-8. I tried, but I failed. There is a 2 UTF-8, but it didn't work. I still don't know. If somebody wants to fix the code for me, please tell me, teach me. So that's the end of the demo, and I'll give you the last slide, which is boring as hell, which is thank you. And if you're curious to see the links, I put all of this here with a QR code. So in case this is just the README, the bottom of the README of my, so there is the gems, the repo, what is an embedding, the video. I took a video of the demo in case this failed. So yeah, that's everything is there. So thanks everyone, and up to the next presenter.